All right, so calling our meeting to order now. Some of you missed it, but I was just talking about how a real quick synopsis that we've been working on refreshing our website. It's on a new host, new web dev team. We're working on new content. Anyone who wants to help, I would love to hear from you, of course. And I will put my new email address in the chat. So if anyone wants to reach out. And we succeeded also in setting us up on Google Workplace for nonprofits. So anyone who's expert in that, we have a lot of work to do. We just managed to get it validated this morning. Okay, there was another announcement. Sohaila, do you remember what that other announcement is since I quit?
No, I don't have any announcement. You can start. Hi, everyone. I'm Sohaila Bano with West Contra Costa Fire Safe Council. I just wanted to acknowledge that we also have my fellow council member, Claudia Jimenez, here tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm very proud of all the CERT and MCOM folks. Many of them are very active in Claudia's district, District 6, and I see some of them are here tonight. Thank you for being with us. And Marilyn, would you like to start Richard? Richard and I have a set of slides that we'll go over and talk about the 94803 evacuation drill. Marilyn?
Okay, it's turned on. Alrighty. Ta-da! PowerPoint.
No, I'm sharing the slides. You don't have to do it.
Oh, alrighty. I'm gonna unshare. Never mind. Sorry, folks. There's your slides, Sohaila. You're up. And Richard.
Yeah, you can see the slides now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It's
Marilyn's
not in,
unmuted, so that's sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I was gonna say it's not in presentation mode.
Okay, very good. So everyone, Richard Diaz is the manager for Richmond Office of Emergency Services, and he's kindly with us tonight to give an overview of the evacuation drill, what it is about, what he's planning to do, and what your homework, our homework as residents is. So we have to do our share to be prepared to learn, to be prepared for a real case of public emergency. And Richard is helping us to get there. And Richard, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sohaila. Good evening, everyone. So nice to see some familiar faces. So thank you for joining. Richard Diaz, as Sohaila mentioned, I'm Emergency Services Manager with the Fire Department, City of Richmond, Office of Emergency Services. Yeah, so as I wait for the presentation to be on presentation mode, just very quickly wanted to talk to you guys about, kind of like pre-planning for our envisioned evacuation drill. For the city of Richmond, as you know, our concentration is obviously several jurisdictions. That's May Valley, El Sobrante Hill, Greenbrier, Carriage Hills, North South. However, it is, very, very much within zip code 94803. And there's already lots of planning taking place. Just this last Tuesday, we had an interesting first planning meeting with key partners. This is not a single-handed approach. This is a multi-partner approach because, as you know, during a real situation, this will involve the whole community and pooling resources, etc. So for me, it's really understanding who does what, who's in the area. And I'll go through this in more detail with the slides and potentially build a response plan and understand the protocols for what we need to provide to the community. Sorry, is there a way, Sohaila, to make this? I'm happy to also to share from my end.
Awesome. I'll let you share from your end. Okay, let me stop sharing. And that makes it easier for me. Hold on. And just a second.
Yeah.
You can share now.
All right, thank you. Just a couple seconds here. Okay, you should all see my screen, and I'm going now to activate the widescreen. So just a quick thumbs up from everyone, just to know that we're ready to go.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So yeah, this is very quickly just for what I want to do today, again, as a heads up and introduce to you guys what we're doing in coordination with Fire Safe Council. It's tell you about the partner agencies that we're dealing with, kind of like what we have in mind in terms of the scope. And for you as community residents, the preparedness aspect of this evaluation, we hope you guys will take part in this. And obviously look at the evaluation component. It's not just, testing an alert that comes to you and prompting you to evacuate, but it's also seeing towards the end, how well did we do? What did we assess, and what are the needs and improvements that need to be done, both on the community side and also from public safety side. Also understand very briefly from your end, what is that basic preparedness information that you have to remember, keep in mind. That will also get the machinery oiled up ahead of this exercise. For example, as I mentioned, familiar faces here tonight. Many of them are CERT volunteers, and this is something that some of the things here are stuff that we stress and emphasize during the CERT Academy. So we do have one coming up just in 2 weeks, and looking forward to that. So we're going to ensure that in terms of preparedness, you guys understand and are fully aware of what a red flag warning is. This is what we're going to continue emphasizing when we're speaking about wildfire. What is that red flag warning? What does that mean? And what should you be ready to do when there's one issued by the National Weather Service? And also PDS, so points of when the blank there, I'll ask.
Particularly dangerous
Thank you.
situation.
Particularly dangerous situation. Thank you, PDS. CWS, you guys are very well aware of by now, is a community warning system. That's a county's specific alert and warning system. And NICSL is the lower tier that we manage in the city for emergency notifications. Now remember, CWS, it's the one issued by the alerting authority. The city is not. So they're through their system, you will be prompted to take preparedness actions based on life-threatening events. So evacuation is one of them. Sheltering in place is another one, for instance. What we do here in the city is we follow up with NICSL. We inform the community on stuff happening, but we also try to be very careful with creating fatigue. People understand that when something is received via the phone, it's not just anything. It has to be something that is worthwhile sharing with you guys. Another basic preparedness information that we want to get people to understand ahead of the evacuation drill, and also ensure that that is a good takeaway after the evacuation drill, is understanding your evacuation zones. Remember, for those that don't know, evacuation orders are done by specific areas or perimeters. It's not just calling out a specific location or neighborhood. Everything has been marked down now by law enforcement. It's been done in coordination, by public safety agencies. Several counties in the Bay Area have that approach. It is the strategic and efficient way to ensure that for a matter of evacuation, the specific area is delineated, sorry, by nomenclature. So there is a grid, a map that you should have access to, and will let you know what zone you belong to. Watch duty. By now, I think you guys also are very well aware of what that does. It's an app, a free app that provides free services, and has really evolved over the years. They have gone from simply mapping out wildfire spots in specific areas of Sonoma County to now being used in several other states outside California. They actually happen to be based in Santa Rosa, Sonoma County. So it's pretty nice to know how something from the Bay Area has gained wide popularity. And Watch Duty, as you know, you can simply track a wildfire situation, and they have evolved to connecting to other monitoring systems. So a red flag warning, it'll show on that map. If there's an evacuation warning or evacuation order, it'll show on that Watch Duty app. And there's a pro version with a payment option that has other things, but won't go too much into details. But just understand that Watch Duty is a great tool to have. And then the pre-evacuation matter, just understanding what is it that you have to have in place and do as a pre-evacuation. So there's an evacuation warning before the evacuation order. That is the sequence. When there's an evacuation warning, know that you might be next to have to go. So what do you do? What do you have in place in that specific stage? What you see on the right here is our draft promotional flyer. We're just fine-tuning some last details, but you will be seeing that as part of the promotion that we'll be doing within the next few months. We are 3 months out, which gives us, plenty of time to prepare for it. But again, for this thing, especially understanding the how wide of an area we're looking at exercising, we need to do this carefully and well planned and trying to get us the right partners on board so that we can have a successful practice. Okay, so here are who's involved at the moment. This is spearheaded by the city, represented by Richmond Fire Department. In other words, OES, partnering very closely with Fire Safe Council. From the city, we have the fire department, we have Richmond Police Department as a local authority for law enforcement and for enforcing evacuation within city jurisdiction. There's also Richmond Public Works. They do have a role and responsibility for road maintenance and conditions, and also for signs. When there's floodings and stuff, you see those A-frames. We have them on board to help us with those logistics. On the county side, because again, the potential for this to be also taken advantage of by residents in unincorporated areas. I mean, you guys know it. It's very silly, right? How you're reading, here you are as an example in city of Richmond, and just 1 block away, you're in another jurisdiction. In a wildfire situation, that will not be respected. So, again, we're being quite realistic here on how we can do this the best way to better inform. So for that, we are collaborating with county entities. So in this case, it's Contra Costa Sheriff's Office by way of their community warning system team. They actually are the ones that will be issuing a test alert, which is how this will be played out. And also their Office of Emergency Services to provide some guidance and advice as needed. Also, Contra Costa Fire Protection District, or CONFIRE, also in the capacity of providing guidance and advice as needed. They're all part of the key partner planning meeting. American Red Cross has been invited as well. East Bay Regional Parks. They're within their territory, things like Canada Grove that are just right there. So imagine a fire that starts there or eventually enters that part. So we need to have them on board to also self-assess and help us understand what things could be done. East Bay Mud, AC Transit, San Paulo Police Department, they were also invited to that very first planning meeting. So these are, for now, the core group, as we call it, helping me shape out the whole situation. I saw a comment. I'm not able to read it right now, but please feel free, Sohila, Maryland, to let me know if there's any question or.
Don't worry about the comments. You'll get all the
Okay,
questions on that. Don't
perfect.
worry.
All right, so you guys are very well aware of this map, right? The 94803 area, quite massive. But then you see there in the shaded area, it's the city's jurisdiction, right? That I mentioned earlier. May Valley, El Sobrante Hills, Greenbrier, Carriage Hills, Castro Heights, Hilltop Green. So, that's what as my role, that is my responsibility, to get this within scope. And then obviously anything in between there would be unincorporated. Okay, another look here at the what encompasses area code 805. You don't see it here, but obviously when we plan on an evacuation, we got to tell people where to go, right? During a real emergency, that would not be necessarily the case. You'll simply be told to leave. For this case, we have pre-designated a location that will be towards the west. We have in mind for now the Hilltop Mall parking lot. And that's where folks will be expected to head, assuming a simulated wildfire coming from the east side. So you can imagine San Pablo Dam Road being one of the key evacuation routes heading west. So we're looking at all those elements, making sure that the right timing of the exercise and the potential expected number of vehicles is handled in an efficient way. Okay.
Richard, if I may, this
Yeah, go ahead.
shows, so the dotted line shows the territory of the city of Richmond. At the center, you see unincorporated El Sobrante, and towards the west, where it says Wildcat Canyon, under that written area is the city of San Pablo. Just wanted to clarify, that's why we have so many agencies working together.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, it's the key thing is coordination, right? It's you zoom out from a distance and everybody is in one geographic area. When you lift all our jurisdictional borders and stuff, in an emergency, those things actually don't come into play as much. So, we're identifying what would it be like in a real situation and who actually needs to be in the know and help us think about, how to coordinate in a given situation. And this is the map depicting the fire hazard severity zones, the local responsibility area. So I'm going to move right here, some of the blocks here, or LRA, which is a map that is developed in consultation with local entities at state level. So the state fire marshal assesses the severity of wildfire all throughout California for Contra Costa County, and zooming in specifically in our area. This is what it looks like. The most recent assessment of fire hazard severity zones in our region, or throughout the state, rather, was finalized and made public in February of last year. So there's just been over a year since their latest release, and it's not done frequently. It takes some time, so we're looking at, a revised version. And there you have it. Very high in red, high in orange, and moderate in yellow. So again, just if we remember what the previous maps were like and we overlay them, 94803, it's within very high severity zones. I'm sorry, is there a comment? No?
Sorry,
Okay.
I need to mute everyone.
No problem. And here's another look of what I just explained. This map is actually found in our City of Richmond Fire Department Fire Prevention Division. You can see it here because it's a fixed image, but it allows you to slide from left to right a bar, and you would see the difference between a 2009 fire hazard severity zone mapping versus a 2025 fire hazard severity zone. What it's showing here, it's the 2025 version. So it was a snapshot I was taken sliding it to the right. Again, in our City of Richmond website, Fire Department under Fire Prevention, you can find it. And again, this map was developed in-house by our GIS team. It shows all the parcels, right? Every specific property, and you can get an idea of what it looks like. Towards the right here, Carriage Hills North-South, Greenbrier, within scope of severity of high a very high fire hazard severity zone as it gets a bit less towards the left.
Can I add a note about this image?
Sure, go ahead.
So I just wanted to let everyone know that this is how the City of Richmond maps its high fire hazard severity zone. You see that unincorporated area is missing. Rayleigh's store is in San Pablo, and obviously San Pablo is missing, doesn't show here. And the county then has its own map that does for unincorporated, also branded, that does not include the City of Richmond. This is why this drill is so important, to get all those agencies work together. Our safety element, for example, just evaluates the map that you see here. The blank area that's unincorporated, also Brante, is not counted in our safety element. So this is very significant and important to make sure that all the agencies work together in a real case. Thank you, Richard.
No, I see Marilyn's hand. Marilyn, go ahead.
Just a quick note that there was a very large section that went from very high fire hazard severity zone down to moderate. That is not the reality of the case, but it is incredibly hard to add zones back in. And we've had discussions about it. It's probably a multi-year process. So that happened after the CAL FIRE people changed their algorithm. So that particularly dangerous area that's north of Diaz High School and that whole area up Sobrante Avenue, everyone knows that's super dangerous, okay? It's just, it's not, they changed the algorithm and it knocked out that area.
Thank you, Marilyn. And Eric, I see your hand.
Thank you so much. So maybe Sohaila, because you know where I am, the Kennedy Grove neighborhood that dead ends into the park on Hillside Drive. That seems like that's not included either, right?
That's the point I mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for emphasizing. Richard, go on, and if there are more questions, let's get them at the end. I just wanted to explain, and I'm sorry, Richard, that I take the liberty to interrupt and add explanation. Go ahead, please. Oh, and
No problem.
yeah.
Again,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no problem. No, the fact that these graphics are encouraging comments. It's great. It's nailing down what I just mentioned at the beginning. It's that awareness of why we're doing this. Another look of 9-4-3's hazard there,
This
depicted
one,
in smaller colors. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, if I could explain this one, because I spent a lot of time on this. This is a map that done by East Bay Regional Parks upon a request by CAL FIRE. So as you see the green area, because there are no people over there, although it's very high fire hazard severity zone, it doesn't show so. So the orange dots and yellow dots only show the hazard to lives and houses. That shows what human casualty or the property damages will be.
Thank you for sharing that, Sohaila. Very interesting map as well. All right. Okay, so here is interesting matrix, and I'll let Fire Safety Council speak more to this because I know you guys actually have a better way to convey this. But this is in essence a red flag warning and a particularly dangerous situation PDS kind of matrix, which delineates what conditions would look like based on sustained winds and what categorization has been created to help inform local officials on actions to take for the community. So on the left column, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'll let you guys take the rail on this one.
No, I just wanted to say that, yeah, you can explain it, and then I want to add something about particularly dangerous situation. The Chief Bontempo gave us this table, and he said that on red flag warning days, the danger is very high. And Richard's going to explain the tempo. On the purple square, it's hopeless. The firefighters are not going to try to extinguish the fire. They're just into saving lives. That's when we urge residents to pre-evacuate. Sorry for interruption. Go ahead.
No. Also, something about the red flag warning and what formula the National Weather Service has used, and it's basically three things that occur during wildfire season, and it's the vegetations are dry, so that leads to dry fuels. Also, humidity tends to be extremely low and can go into extreme levels, and also the wind situation. So those three components are depicted here. For the National Weather Service, that is what triggers a red flag warning. When we have a forecasted wind event with specific conditions, we have dry fuels, means it's been sustainedly dry for a few days to the point that vegetation in the area has come to a dry state, igneous state, and then the humidity levels. Those three create dangerous conditions. So you see here, as you depending on the winds moving to the right, less than 6 miles per hour, pretty much low, which indicates green. Between 6 and 11 miles per hour, you go down the percentage of humidity, it becomes a red flag warning when we're hitting less than 9% during the daytime or less than 31% during nighttime. And that is, in essence, how it continues towards the right. So if you look at the last column, 30 wind forces at over 30 miles per hour. I mean, that we're now talking, okay, what are the conditions that we need to be aware of from a public safety standpoint? That's when we're also requesting National Weather Service to provide specific conditions for area. They do provide that for us, not on demand, but based on the situation. And then obviously, based on the humidity again. So that purple, as Sohaila mentioned, that's when things can really get get done. And for us is really ensuring that the protective measures are taken by the residents before we reach that point. So there are in essence opportunity for us to let folks know. And from a learning warning perspective, there is an evacuation warning and then evacuation order. That is a way to let people know, hey, this could be happening. And there's a fire that already happening, depending on wind direction, etc. Specific messages will be sent out to the public, and then your personal evacuation plan comes into place. Where is it that you're going to, if you've made that plan already outside of the area? If you have a vehicle, have you made sure that it is at least more than half of a tank filled? You don't know how long it will take you to reach your destination, or you can, but the aspect of fuel stations becoming impossible to access because everybody is going to want to do that. Your go bags, what do you have? What is needed to sustain you for a period of 24 or 48 hours, depending on the conditions. So again, great tool for public safety officials to guide us for decision making, and for you guys to understand too how we make those decisions.
Richard, could you add if you would receive a Nixle message during red flag warning?
We will follow. Yes, the answer is yes. The answer is simply yes. That is something that we definitely want to make sure gets redundancy out there. Again, I have to assume that not everybody is on board in getting, well, not on board is not the right word, but it's has received these messages that come through several means, through social media, radio, apps, etc. There's always that redundancy, and that is our job to make sure that it gets out there. So Nixle, yes, it is one of our main ways to get it out there, and it will be done as email and also as text messages. For community warning system, again, managed by the county. This is how you get on it, right? It's important to get on their database so they know how to reach you several ways. And they are able then to, as an alerting authority, they can hit your phone, specific areas that they define as area that needs to evacuate. You will get that alert. But also, if they don't do it that way, they can let you know by email or text. So to put it simpler, make sure that you are on their database, because that is the rationale and an expected effort from the community in every county in California, every county in the U.S. The key message is encouraging folks to get on their local public safety alert and warning system. And that's for the city at the bottom. That's what we handle. It is a subscriber based. You have two ways of doing it, either going online to nixle.com, and you will find the city of Richmond by putting in your zip code, or just texting 888-777, entering your zip code. It'll be automatically routed through the database that Nixle has for us. And that's just another way to maintain, to be notified, to maintain being notified.
Can I
Yes,
say
please.
quick clarification? So we urge you to sign up and register for both Community Warning System and Nixle, but this is not the registration for the drill. We are preparing our website, and you will have a chance to register for the drill. That's in addition, because Community Warning System as is would go to any cell phone system in the region, that has evacuation alert, but this is by choice, an option, and you need to sign up.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. It could have been very, very confusing. So this is not the way to register for the evacuation drill. So we're finalizing that approach, and along with the information that's going out with the promotional campaign that we'll do, you'll see how to get on that specific testing environment of the CWS. This is a general resident everyday procedure to register on the system, on both systems. Okay, and then Genesis, or Genesis Protect, as it's now called. You guys might remember this system from its earlier days being called or known as Zone Haven. So another system that has evolved over time, which is typical of tech companies as they expand and they merge. So now it's the Genesis Protect. So what this system is that it harbors the agreed upon evacuation zone nomenclatures for this area. And I cannot zoom in here, but if you go to this website, it is public base. You can zoom in and out and see what evacuation zone you're part of. It allows you to either click and pinpoint where you are, or you can simply put in your address and it'll take you there. So for City of Richmond, cities have a specific nomenclature for evacuation zones. To make it easier for everyone, it starts with first three letters that are similar to the city in question. So RCH for Richmond, and then the numbers based on the zones. So we have several zones. This is, again, just focusing on this area, but it goes through, Point Richmond has their specific evacuation zone, breaking into specific areas. Marina Bay, Richmond Annex. What you see here, starting with CCC, that is Contra Costa County, and that is for unincorporated areas. What you see in PNL, that's Pinole, towards the bottom left. SPB, that's San Pablo. So again, I did not make those decisions. This was done in very close coordination between law enforcement and fire a few years ago, and with the end goal of making things more efficient and coordinated, and to let you as a resident understand, oh, my zone has been told to shelter in place, or my zone has been told that there is an evacuation warning. Oh, my zone has been told to evacuate as an order. So this is the system that will also be utilized during the evacuation drill. Again, we're testing capabilities as if the situation will be real, how we would operate for both sides, from a resident perspective and also for public safety. Yeah, I spoke to you guys earlier about watch duty and how great of an software it has evolved to be. And this is a snapshot of what you see, either on the web version or if you download it to your phone. And it's downloadable if you have an iPhone or an Android phone. But it shows you in real time current fires anywhere, depending on where you zoom. Interestingly, as I mentioned, it started, just for California, but its huge success has simply allowed it to expand, and other states have actually either acquired it or they have been able to map other wildfires with feeds that they get from local information. So this is just an example of what you would see zoomed out. Zooming in, you will see more information. You can even see the wind direction. You could even see whether an evacuation zone exists for certain place. I remember the watch duty will not alert you to evacuate. It will show. So it's just, again, another redundancy out there. That's why it's something good to have. Another look of what you can see there. Once you click on a fire, it provides you information. This, for instance, called the national fire. Now it tells you exactly what it is. And to the right, you see more information. What is total acres, the containment at that time? And when we're speaking fire language, we speak of what is the percentage of containment of such fire or wildfire. Is it 0% containment? Is it 50% containment, et cetera? That is information provided by fire authority. Okay, and also they've added features such as this, now integrating with Caltrans cameras. So you see there, those blue squares are actually Caltrans traffic cameras along specific highways. So this is Highway 80. If you click on that, either through your finger or your mouse, if you're on a desktop version, you will see if their Caltrans particular Caltrans camera is live at the moment. You will see what it is directed at, what it's showing. And obviously, I want to say this is not the BART, but just road conditions, traffic conditions. So it's interesting. Again, the point is just how many more features they've added, and even for free, for folks to just be aware and informed of what's going on. Okay, and this talks here a little bit about the pro version. You can go a little bit more and have access to more things. For example, for members here on the left, you can toggle to see flight trackers. Power outages are included in the free version, so you can see too whether PG&E has issued any power outages in the area. You can see that. So it's just interesting how it has become a small little hub to have at the palm of your hand. Before it was just checking out website here, website there. So again, they've done quite well with that. Yeah, air quality index is another thing that you can choose to see. And again, I mean, it depends on what you want to see. I mean, I suggest you not to overwhelm yourself with so much. I mean, our topic here is wildfire. Make sure that you know whether there's a fire showing, look for it. Wind condition if you're interested, and also any protective measures that may be happening. But it's a great tool. All right, and this will be shown on there as well. But in general, evacuation, as I mentioned, two phases, evacuation warning, right? Get ready. It could be a situation very soon where that area that you're part of that has been issued a warning might have to switch to order. Now, warning, you have the liberty to take action in leaving if you find it that is better, for your own safety or your neighbors, which I always emphasize. Always think about your neighbors, understand who are around you who might need extra help. Order, now that is a mandate. That is a law enforcement matter. It's to protect lives. So understand that sequence at the top here, evacuation order. This is a quick explanation that's also included in the app, just for easier access. You can also find it online. Evacuation order, leave immediately, right? Evacuation warning, be set to evacuate at a moment's notice. Other protective measures that are reflected through the app is shelter in place. So again, just a way to understand in lay terms what that means. Okay, red flag warning, as I mentioned, it will be captured here with definitions, right? Is there ever any time that you needed a clarification on the meaning of these? This has been included here as well. Remember, always go to you know, public safety websites, meaning CAL FIRE has great resources. Uh, our fire department has great resources as well. Confire website has great resources, specifically on what red flag warning is and the definition. It's a standardized approach, so it's nationally uh, determined, approved, and disseminated. There's no difference in its meaning if you are outside of California, for instance. Let's talk about standardization as a way to really uh, preserve lives and property. All right, so bringing it back to our evacuation drill efforts. The scope, as I mentioned earlier, it's we're thinking Saturday, May 30th. This is really the last day of last Saturday of the month. This is the weekend after Memorial Day weekend, so we made sure that this was not conflicting. That is when it will happen. Covers residents 94803. Again, my responsibility. It's Richmond residents. We hope other residents will be able to join as well within the area, especially unincorporated. This drill, we want to make it as less of a complexity as possible in order to avoid confusion and chaos. So, we're working very hard with a community warning system to make sure that a registration process is clear, that you find it very easily online to register, even including a QR code for those that are used to more of that fashion. But it's also going to focus on a wildfire, right? That's what's going to be it. It's evacuation drills for many other hazards. Jurisdictions have done it for areas that are prone to flooding, for instance, that are prone to landslides, tsunamis. This is going to be our hazard, and we'll play. That's what we like to call this. We'll play and test what we want to test, and then assess what went right, what could be improved, and how do we incorporate those findings into our planning. Very, very important. Again, it's not just leave anywhere. We're going to direct folks to go to a collection point. This could be the case in real-time situation. You may be told to go to a specific place, but more than often, it's more get out, right? That is the right condition for this drill. We want people to exercise and understand and do a self-assessment. How long would it take me to get out? What really does it take me to get to that place, as promptly as possible, with safety in mind, of course. But the goal is to reach a collection point, as it's often called, a place where residents will end the test. Evacuation will be triggered by a controlled community warning system alert. As you mentioned, that's what's going to kick off the drill. And it's not just, again, we don't want confusion. It's not just everybody from the area that's going to go at once. We want to try to do it in a phased approach. So again, in our preliminary stages of planning, we're making sure that all partners are on the same page, and we craft something that delivers just that. So that's what we're hoping to do. And yeah, it will require participant registration. It is important. People might ask, well, why not just do a test? Standard policy is that it's always somebody that doesn't want to participate or did not know about it. Remember, we have tourists, people that drive by, and they might accidentally get the test. And that might just cost a big deal. So these things are done in a controlled environment. That's why it's done in a specific type of group alert. People will be registering and all those registrations will be kept in a test environment, and only those will be receiving those test alerts. That is how this is practiced as a standard. Sorry, before I go here, I forgot to mention on the fourth bullet point there, Fire Safe Council is also coordinating at the collection point. For those residents that would like to spend a little bit more time of having what we call a resource hub, offering the evacuees, residents, information that they can, check out, take home, interact with partners that may be tabling there. So we're going through that process of logistically planning for that. You'll also be able to take a survey to let us know what you thought of this process. So it's going to be held at the resource hub or collection point, as we refer to. Okay, for those wondering, we're almost done. So goals, and then I'll open it up for comments. I see some hands. Excuse me. So goals for partner agencies, we'll be testing response capabilities, especially around coordination. Personal connections will be updated by that. It's what is it, those key contacts, those protocols of coordination and support between agencies. If they weren't in a plan, they'll potentially be added to a plan just to streamline and make those requests, if any, be more efficient. And again, yes, the goal is to highlight issues that will rise in terms of coordination, collaboration, etc. The whole evacuation process will be tested. How did the alerts go? This is all done obviously to improve our next round of similar process. Emergency notifications, as I mentioned, and staffing and resource needs will be assessed. So all that is from I call it the internal side of things. But for you guys, which matters most to you, is you'll help evaluate yourself, especially the emergency notification. Will you know if you received it? Is it an issue of your phone, for instance? Did you happen to have that option to allow for notifications to be received? It's little things that actually matter. So this is what we want. We just had, obviously in the state, something called LA fires happening outside what we thought was a wildfire season in January. So there's a lot that came out of that event. Same here, unforeseen issues. It's things about your personal plan. Is it something you need to fix? Your go bag, is it something that do you feel that you have too much or you have too little? That sort of stuff. We talk a lot about go bags, so we're encouraging folks to take those with you, right? During this test. Same thing again, emergency notifications, staffing and resources. Well, I think that's those two bullet points carried over from the other slide. Okay, and then in terms of evaluation, yeah, collaboration and resources. That's what we'll be internally evaluating. The community preparedness side of things. It's we're working on an actual survey set of questions on a survey that will be handed out. People will be able to fill out either on the spot or later on, letting us know, in terms of your evacuation zones, do you have an understanding of that? Your speed of action, what was the holdup? It's just going to be an opened questionnaire or a set of questions for you to let us know how you experienced this evacuation drill. Okay, and also more items there that we're discussing and incorporating. So again, just giving you some heads up. Again, probably sounds like a lot of details, but this is all being brewed, discussed, but giving you some idea of what to expect, all for the purpose of encouraging participation, but also having you be the ones that convey to that neighbor, no, this is important. Join, right? Because it matters to the whole neighborhood as a community. Destination point, yeah, be tabling. This is Power Safe Council taking this initiative.
We're going to make it fun.
Informational, etc. So yes, I'll hand over there. So hey, go ahead.
We're going to make make it a fun event at Destination Point because we want you to stay and fill out the evaluation forms. And there will be informational tables. And we're planning to provide free food to everyone. There will be fun educational stuff. With your permission, Richard, I'm going to just explain a couple of points. Last time we had evacuation drills, we realized community warning system was not working the way it was expected. For some messages, there were 3 hours of delay, which is not acceptable in case of a wildfire. So I contacted the sheriff's office. They were not responsive. We had to write to the Contra Costa civil grand jury. They interviewed many people as a result and came up with a report that said community warning system needs to be modified, improved, enhanced, and supposedly that has happened. I don't know about the details. I know the manager has left, the manager who was not responsive. We have new people in place. So it's very important for you to come to make sure that the messaging of the community warning system works because our lives depend on it. The other thing is that, as you know, we are Richmond and unincorporated El Sobrante, and a part of it is San Pablo. Can our law enforcements work together? Are they prepared? Are they ready? Knowing that the sheriff's office subcontracts to CHP. In this drill, Richard is doing his best on his own, and he's overloaded because he's carrying the load of Richmond, unincorporated El Sobrante, and San Pablo all by himself without, as far as I know, no resources or support from those other entities. He's just bringing all the agencies together. We are helping him as much as we can to organize the drill. So we need participation to make sure in case of a real disaster, they are responsive. They know how to collaborate. If it's hard to get a hold of people, for example, at some agency, how are they going to work, in a matter of seconds, be there for people to help? Finally, another point I wanted to make, Richmond safety element. You remember the map that only showed, Richard, do you want to stop sharing so we can see each other now? Thank you. You remember the map that only had the city of Richmond, not unincorporated El Sobrante. So city of Richmond has a safety element, which is a study done by consultants deciding how long it takes to evacuate us from the area. I think they only counted Richmond residents, not unincorporated El Sobrante. I may be wrong. I'll confirm next time we talk. And guess how long it takes? 10 hours, nearly 10 hours to evacuate us. So we need to make sure we have a staffing, we have plans, we'll do pre-evacuation, we help neighbor to neighbor so we can save all lives if anything happens. And in addition to wildfire, we also have earthquakes. We need to be prepared. Bottom line, please pass the word to your neighbors. We need to get as many people as registered as possible. As we move on, there are issues we face and we may not have answers for them. Richard may not be able to solve all the issues and problems. So we'll keep you posted about what happens. We're going to have the drill, but there may be new constraints that we face along the way. Thank you so much for your attention. Marilyn, do you want to get the questions?
Okay, everybody, I'm going to whip through. I'll start from the bottom because that's a good place. Will pets be allowed or expected to evacuate? I actually think that was part of the intent because we have livestock in the area. It's not just pets. And those people who have horses to get out of here, or the zillion goats, or, they have to have it, even if their plan is to release the animals, like chickens, they quite often say it's better to just release them because of infectious disease. And so it's good for everybody to have that drill for themselves for all their animals. Another one was uh, uh, I answered Claudia's question online. There was Patty had the question will the after action review for the drill be shared with the public? And what entities will be included as participants in the AAR? And I'm not sure what the AAR is. Someone want to grab that one?
I can speak to that. AAR after action report. Sounds technical. When I mentioned LA Fire has an AAR, that is a standard for exercise implementation, following national standard. It'll simply be, a meeting or a summary of the feedback received, so that everyone knows, hey, this is how well we did. I don't think, especially on the community side, that is something that it's worth knowing. So, Fire Safe Council, I guess you would be best to then share that with participants.
Okay. And then I'm going up. Oh, Karen asked about maximum resident participation in the drill. Are we setting a maximum?
That's a good question. So again, those details are still being fine-tuned. I am checking with our alerting authority.
That's a good
following
question.
following their policy on testing. What does that mean? If it requires a cab, then be it. It can get quite complex if we don't have certain parameters in place.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to repeat because I think it's good for everyone to hear. Neri asked, is historical particularly dangerous data using these measures that were discussed earlier incorporated into the maps that you shared? And so Hale responded, she's planning to find a speaker who will talk about the history of fires in our area at either the next or actually it might be the April meeting. I know I had to make a note on it. And I just want to add to this that we have many small fires, and small meaning 5 acres or less, but we actually have many of those, and most people are not aware unless they're watching on watch duty. Then you realize how many of them there are. Okay, now I'm going to get the hands. I did the online here. I think, Pam, you were first. You want to unmute? Pam? I can come back.
There we go. There we go. I was pushing the picture and not the bottom bar. Okay, I'll try to be really quick. The maps for the zones is a flat map, and a lot of our topography is a valley with steep sides, hillsides. So it's very important for people in the hills, which is a lot of the area, whether it's Richmond, San Pablo, or unincorporated El Sobrante, to know which way the fire is coming, because sometimes you can't drive out. You're gonna have to go out some other way. And without understanding the direction, just being told your zone is evacuating is going to really be a crucial detail that people in the hills need to understand. Because if they start driving down the hill and the fire's coming up, that was the wrong way to try to get out.
Yeah, not only that, Richard, I should mention where she lives. The wind, it's near me. The wind goes around the hill. It's weird wind. And it won't necessarily be doing what it is elsewhere in the valley.
I also just wanted to say one fast thing, that when Nixle gets our information, we only are giving them our zip code. And really what we need is a more specific call. Like when PG&E has a problem, they call us, and it's a very specific call that goes to only the people with the outage, that sometimes is only 50 people. So Nixle only gets a zip code, that's everybody. So I don't know if this can be coordinated with PG&E, because they already have everything divided up and they can instantly call just specific people or specific groups or the zones.
Yeah, I'll speak to that very briefly. So yeah, no, Nixle is very limited. It is just for subscriber-based simple communication. It falls under the county's community warning system to provide that. I unfortunately cannot speak to their system, but I do know as a learning authority, they have to have a system that reaches you via several ways: text message, phone call, emails, even if you have a landline, I believe that's also part of the system. But again, it's just the difference with Nixle, which is what I manage.
Okay, Chastine, do you want to go next?
Before you get the next question, I just wanted to tell everyone that we are going to have either our fire chief or deputy fire chief to answer fire-related questions. Richard is not a firefighter, so please limit the questions to the logistics of the evacuation drill and its scope. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Justine.
Okay, I'll try to be succinct. I got so many questions rolling around up here. With regards to the volume of people that that was another question about, and one I had about the volume of people that you anticipate to participate and to register. This particular meeting, how was the distribution list created, and do we need to expand on it? So that's kind of a question. Are we defining tasks and roles and responsibilities, and what kind of work the volunteers can do? Like who can volunteer and what roles and responsibilities that they would take to help out with this? And you may not have the answer to that tonight. Maybe this is ongoing. And communication too, once you all determine what our cap is on amount of people, how is that information disseminated? Is it going to be through social media, not just neighbors? I mean, I only I know 4 of my neighbors, and they weren't interested in CERT and taking care of that, so I'm pretty sure that this isn't going to jump on their things to do list. So I was just curious as to kind of that communication as well. How does that happen? Because we have a lot of people in our CERT team that are 94803, and is that a starting point to get at least that group knowledgeable? So anyway, I don't think there was one question. It was just my brain dumping stuff.
No problem, Justine. No, those are all great questions. I'll start with your second one in terms of volunteering. Volunteers will be leveraged for this. You guys, especially I'm talking about my certs, there will be a communication going out calling for your volunteer engagement in this. This is what we train you guys for in terms of being that extension to public safety. So do expect that from us. I would love to make that an experience as a cert to be part of this.
Okay.
In terms of the communication, all that is being in the works. There, again, it's going to have to be a cap, as I see. I think Rocky dropped an interesting number there just for the zip. I mean, we cannot handle much. So that is being discussed with community warning system. We want to make this doable, but also accessible as much as possible. So there is going to be some parameters in place. And communication wise, yes, it's we're going to have flyers available. So expect to see those via social media, websites, etc. So critical engagement methods.
Okay. Thanks. More to come.
Yeah. I just want to add, we did use some social media, but we are looking into some more novel forms of reaching out to people like digital bulletin boards. Okay. Oh my gosh. Chris, can you respond quickly and then you, Tommy?
Sure. Richard, clarification, if I may. You're going to be doing a lot of assessments in the course of this exercise. To what degree will those assessments be shared with the community? I understand there's going to be an after-action report, but that usually, as you said, is pretty dense and may be hard to understand. So it would be useful if the community could understand a plain English, as it were, summary of what the assessments said.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And I think it's better to stop calling it AR for this purpose. So it's again, it's not going to be the type that would involve a lot of findings in terms of public safety capabilities. I want it to be, kind of like a summary of what was experienced more from your side and what we observe of the community going forward. So I'll think of a better term because it does lend itself to confusion if we keep calling it after action report. But it will be simple, meaning people will be able to read how did it go. Answer the question, how did it go? What's the improvement to be made? What was the percentage of attendance, of participation, that sort of stuff. So again, it's not finalized. It's working on those little details.
Okay, Tommy.
Hi, this is a request to Richard. And Sohaila knows this very well. I'm concerned about our unhoused neighbors who are living along San Pablo Creek. Most do not have vehicles and many do not have cell phones. And so I could tell from your recommendations, evacuate immediately, as you're assuming people live in houses and have vehicles. But I really encourage you to consider that because they're very much at risk and would need help evacuating. Thank you.
Good point. And Karen.
Thank you. I had my hand raised, but it's pastel. Richard, I'm concerned that this is a huge challenge that you're biting off, maybe too big. The last two drills were pretty small, Carriage Hills and then Brickyard Landing. Could you please acknowledge that you have conferred with the La Marinda group? They did a drill within the last 5 years. I'm not sure if it was before the pandemic or after the pandemic, and it was county and it's mixed. And so they have a plan, and it took them quite a while to organize it by sections with road directions and everything else. So I'm concerned about the traffic pattern. So could you please confer with La Marinda, which is a joint body of cities. I'm not sure if it was Orinda specifically that they evacuated. It was close to the dam road. And it was very well done. And I
Yeah.
found out about it because I saw it online afterwards. So please,
I'm pretty sure it's Moraga Orinda Fire District. Yeah.
yeah, okay. So find out from them how they structured it and how they managed the whole thing because it went pretty well. And you shouldn't be starting from scratch. You really need some maybe learning from these guys because they're
Yeah.
very good.
I
Thank
think
you.
that was a whole city of Orinda
Thanks, Karen.
too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Marilyn, I cannot raise my hand. Just a quick note.
Yeah.
Tony, thank you for mentioning it. So one of the things that we at West Contra Costa Fire Safe Council have been requesting repeatedly is redundancy for public notification through talking sirens or long-range audio
Yeah.
devices that talks to people. Yes, Tony, we should work on it.
And multiple languages too.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's not that expensive. I mean, for the whole region, it's around $2 million, which is a peanut. It's the price of 2, 3 homes in the area. And it could save many lives, hundreds of lives. Anyway, but our evaluation will tell us how urgently it is needed. But in general, it's very good to have redundancy, and a well-participated evacuation drill will help us with those requests. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Marilyn. Thank you, Richard.
I think we should probably stop on the questions, but don't forget you can always email wccfiresafe@gmail.com and we'll get them answered.
And
So,
one more thing I wanted to tell you, very briefly before we go. We need your input and feedback. If you have any ideas how to make the drill together better, let us know. For example, some of you got together, some neighbors, and I put them in touch with Richard, who are thinking about a plan to put neighbors in touch. So neighbor to neighbor, they can help each other evacuate. So everybody will be saved. It's helpful also in case of an earthquake. If you have other ideas about anything regarding the drill, please feel free to reach out. That'd be great.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we're past our usual severe cutoff. So, good night and hope you all have a good night's rest.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
everyone. And remember, we are building our website, WCCFiresafe.org. It'll be up in a week or two for your registration, and pass the word to your friends and neighbors too. Thank you. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Richard. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Good night, all.